Don't you love it when your government sends billions of your tax dollar overseas when there's many people right here that are suffering that could use that money? How about we take care of our own before we start getting involved in other countries' problems?
This is the Nico Lagan Show. Warning. Warning. This show contains explicit content. Listener discretion is advised. Real, raw, and shooting you straight. This is the Nico Lagan Show. And now your host, Nico.
This episode of the Nico Lagan Show is brought to you by the Alpha Creator Blueprint. Are you a male content creator looking to level up your social media game? Do you want to get millions of monthly views just like I do? If so, find out how at tacblueprint.com. Like always, I want to hear from you guys. I want you to give me your opinion, to ask me questions, to tell me what you think. This is the exact reason why I do it live, because I want to interact with you guys. So let me know whether I'm full of shit, I'm right. What's your opinion? I want to hear it. On today's show, we're going to be speaking about a few things here. We're going to talk about the foreign aid package that Biden just approved, why freedom is the most important value a society should hold, what happens when leftist ideology backfires, and we're also going to talk about the New York Court of Appeal's decision to overturn Harvey Weinstein's rape conviction. That all happened yesterday, so that's why we're talking about it. Now, first, I know you heard about this. I'm sure everybody's heard about this, but Biden just approved a bill that will be sending $95 billion of your tax money, our tax money, overseas. 60 billions are going to be given to Ukraine. About 27 billion will be given to Israel. Just over 8 billion for Asian allies like Taiwan. And don't get me wrong, I'm not here to explain or to debate how will that money be spent or speculate as to who will actually benefit from all that money. I'm here to ask a very simple, common sense question. Why are we sending all this money overseas when there's a lot of people right here that's suffering? I'm sure that every single one of you that's listening to this can think of many people that could use part of that money. I'm sure you could too. If you're in the US, North America, because Canada tends to send their money away as well, I know that if you're listening to this, chances are you could use some of that money too. So shouldn't we be focused on taking care of our own instead of getting involved in other countries' businesses? Like, why do we care about other countries when we should be, first and foremost, caring about our own? The politicians that we elect, our politicians, are supposed to work for us, not for other countries. Am I right? Can one of you out there actually say that I'm wrong on this? And think about it, $95 billion is a shit ton of money. And right on top of my head, I can think of a bunch of things we could do with that money instead of giving it away to other countries. How about we help our veterans? You know, the people that put their lives in danger in order to protect us? How about we take care of them? Why don't we use that money to secure that, that nice border between the US and Mexico? Why don't we use that money there? Why don't we give some of it to police forces over the country? How about fire departments? It seems like they're always facing cuts. They're always getting their fundings cut. So why not give the money to them? Why not spend that money on creating middle class jobs where people could produce all the goods that we import from China? How about we put that money into drilling our own oil instead of buying it from foreign countries that really don't care about us? They don't care about our politics. They don't align with our values. So why not instead build a strong middle class by bringing back the industries that we used to have? Instead of buying everything from foreign countries, why not use that money to invest it to build the jobs that people like you, me, could use on their everyday life? And you know what? The more money the middle class has, the more money they spend on the local economy, the better the economy goes. It's very simple. It's not that complicated at all. But yet, our government, our leaders chose to send 95 fucking billion dollars overseas instead of helping us, the people that vote for them in the first place, the people that actually pay taxes to give them that money in the first place. But no, instead, we're sending it overseas. Like, how about this? How about we give it back to the communities? Because at the end of the day, real change is done on the community level. So where you live is where you can make the biggest change. So why are we not giving the money to municipalities or to your counties? You know, the places where there's a direct impact on your life, my life, everybody else's life. Why not try to make a difference in the life of residents in those counties, in your municipality, where it actually matters? Why not revamp this joke that we call our education system and make it once again about learning and not indoctrination? You know, I have an even better idea that every single one of you listening to this is going to agree with. How about we cut taxes instead? How about we make income tax lower? How about we make property taxes lower too? We could do that. We could literally lower our taxes. If we keep all that money here, we could use it to lower taxes for every single one of you out there. Just on top of my head, I probably named 10 different things we could do that would impact the life of every single person listening to this. But instead, we're sending all that beautiful money to other countries where we have no business of getting involved in. Let's take care of our own before we take care of other countries. Is that not fucking common sense? Tell me if I'm wrong here, but is that not fucking common sense? Now, another thing that is included in that bill, which absolutely fucking blows my mind because it has nothing to do with anything, but our leaders, decided that it would be a good idea to add a ban of TikTok. The government is giving ByteDance, which is the parent company of TikTok, a year to sell TikTok to an American company, or else they will ban the app on American soil. This is what our leaders are worried about. Our biggest threat right now is a fucking social media app. And why the fuck is it even in the same bill as a foreign aid bill? It makes no sense, but I'm sure, as you know, our governments are very good at hiding what they do and just stuffing our bills with a bunch of bullshit, just like this one. Yet, the part that people don't seem to realize, and I was having this conversation with one of my followers this morning. He messaged me and he was asking how I felt about TikTok, how I felt about our youth using TikTok and the damage that it could have on them. And he was basically blaming TikTok for our short attention span. You know, our attention span, as per studies, have been going down about 30% over the past 20 years. So, way before TikTok was invented, we had that problem. But here is the point about this whole thing. This is why I'm bringing this up, because at the end of the day, I can give two shits about TikTok. Yes, I'm a content creator, and I use TikTok every single day of my life to help me have a voice. And you know what? Who the fuck cares about TikTok? At the end of the day, anybody that's on TikTok right now, if they choose to close their accounts, they're going to end up on Instagram, they're going to end up on Clapper, they're going to end up on all the other social media platforms that are available. So to me, doesn't matter. But think about this for a second. I can name negatives about every single thing out there. Choose whatever subject, whatever app, whatever restaurant, whatever belief, and I will show you that there's good and bad attached to it. This is how life is. There's good and there's bad to everything out there. TikTok is not evil. The way we use it might be. And this is where we need to stop giving our freedoms away and expect the government to take care of us instead of taking ownership, responsibility, accountability for our fucking actions. TikTok is not evil, but maybe the way that we use it is. And that goes for every single social media platform out there. It's not just TikTok. Every single social media platform out there can be seen as a bad thing, because if you spend all of your days just fucking browsing, just going scrolling, and that's all you do, guess what? It's not a good thing for you. But the same thing can be said about fast food restaurants, or even just restaurants. Should we ban restaurants because they might make us fat? Or is it just that we should take ownership of our actions and realize that, you know what? Restaurants, maybe we shouldn't eat restaurant every day. Maybe that shouldn't be our main source of food. The same thing is true for TikTok, because a lot of people use social media as their main source of news. They don't watch TV anymore. Traditional media outlets are not used the same way as they were used, and especially with younger people, with the younger generation, they're using social media as a source of news. There's also a lot of educational stuff on social media, TikTok included. You might not like it. You might not like the app, but does that mean it should be banned? Or should we just stop asking our government to give us a false sense of security, and instead admitting that they're just taking our freedoms away? Because that's all it is. Whatever reason why they're trying to ban an app like TikTok, at the end of the day, they're preventing you from making that decision. They think they know better than you do. This is what it comes down to. Plain and simple. Remove all the fluff, all the bullshit. However you feel about TikTok or Facebook, Instagram, or other social media platforms, at the end of the day, when you have a government telling you that that's what you should do because we know better than you, well, fuck you. They don't. You should know better. We don't need others to suppress what we can and cannot do, and we need to own to this shit. The fork did not make you fat. You made yourself fat by eating shit. Same thing as, should we ban cars because a lot of people die every year when using a car? Of course not. This is a risk that comes with driving a car. You might get in an accident, and you should be careful so that you don't get in an accident. Social media is no different. So instead of arguing and arguing on how good TikTok is, how about we just take it for what it is and say that it is a freedom of choice. It is up to you. It's up to us to take ownership of our actions and say, you know what? It's on me to know better. And I will choose to use or not use TikTok based on my actions. That's it. It's that simple. And for the parents out there that blame TikTok for all the world's problem, understand that you could take that cell phone away. You could prevent your kids from using it. It's really that simple. Just fucking own to it. It's all about accountability. Everything is about accountability. Every single problem that we face today is about accountability. And I want to stop talking about this with a quote that I absolutely love from Benjamin Franklin. Those who would give up essential liberties to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety. Security is an illusion. Ultimate security does not exist. All you can do is have the freedom to take care of yourself and your loved ones in the best way that you can. You can learn the skills to defend your family. You can use tools like guns, knives, skills to defend your family. But at the end of the day, ultimate safety does not exist. Only freedom exists. The freedom to choose what is better for you and your family. So let's stop giving it away and take it back for ourselves. Now, in the news yesterday, I was reading about this morning, and I'm sure you probably heard about this by now because it's absolutely everywhere. But yesterday, in a 4-3 decision, the New York Court of Appeal decided to overturn Harvey Weinstein's 2020 rape convictions. Why? Because he didn't obtain a fair trial. And I know this sounds fucked up. And I know for most of us, even I, this morning when I was reading this, I'm like, what the fuck's going on? I thought this was a done deal. I thought that guy had allegations upon allegations upon allegations for fucking years. And we all agreed that that guy probably should be in prison. Yet, his lawyer, and obviously the court agrees with him, that the prosecutors shouldn't have been allowed to let alleged rape victims speak about their testimonial, about their stories, about what he allegedly did to them. Because basically what the original court or the original judge did is that he allowed the prosecutors to put on the stand alleged victims, even though their stories were not part of the case itself. There was only 2 women that were criminally charging Weinstein, yet 44 different women were allowed to take the stand when only 2 of them were part of the criminal charges. So basically, I have no clue why they let that happen, because supposedly everybody in the court system and legal employees saw that coming. They saw that this would probably get overturned because they did not manage the actual case properly. Now, seems like only testimonial that are relevant to the case should be allowed. You know what? Love it or hate it, it makes sense. It does make sense. Like, forget Weinstein for a second. It makes sense that we respect this very simple rule. That's why it got overturned. Now, court fucked up. Now they're paying the price for it because Court of Appeal in New York overturned the decision. But before you get very upset about this, understand that they're already planning about refiling another trial. So it's not a big deal. Basically, it's a lot of wasted time, but they're going to retrial him. And also understand that he's not going to be released in the public vicinity. Like, he's still going to be in prison, because it turns out that he is also serving another 16-year sentence for a 2022 rape conviction. When you think about it, it absolutely blows my mind, because you got a guy that was accused of sexual misconduct by 44 different women. Now the case is going to be, now the decision was overturned, sorry. They're going to retrial, but he's still in prison for 16 years currently. And he's 72 years old. So no matter what, he's not getting out anytime soon. So let's not make a big deal out of it. Instead, let's just look at what the way the court handled it in the first place, and understand that that was a very big waste of our money. Because that's what it is, right? Now, I don't like to finish any episodes on a bad note. So I want to cheer you up a bit or to talk about a story that I made a video about this week. And it surprises me that I never heard about this until now, because that should be used everywhere as to what happens when leftist ideology backfires. Because anybody out there that's listening to this, chances are you don't consider yourself left, right? You're probably like me. You consider yourself a conservative, maybe a libertarian, somewhere in the middle, right? So it turns out that back in 2015, in the city of, and I apologize if I'm destroying the name here, but Amtrak, Amtramck, Amtrak, Michigan, elected their first majority city council and first Muslim mayor. So the majority of the city council and the mayor are Muslim. And of course, lefties everywhere celebrated this great achievement because this was done in the name of inclusion, right? Wrong. And this is where this is so fucking funny, because here's the kicker. 10 months ago, that same city council passed legislation banning the pride flag from being flown on city property. And if this isn't irony, I really don't know what is. There's nothing funnier to me than getting smacked in the face by a big dose of reality. And here is a question I have for you. We all know that if you look at what's been happening over the past 10 years, especially the past 10 years, you start to realize that this left ideology cannot continue. It's just getting more ridiculous, more ridiculous, more ridiculous. And like Bill Maher said a couple of weeks ago, or I think it was last week, the more left you go, the more you push people to the right of you, because everything that doesn't agree with you is now considered right. And if you understand what the bell curve is, turns out that about 65%, 70% of us stand somewhere in the middle. We have the 10% on each side. They're always screaming at each other. And us in the middle, we're like, oh, what the fuck's going on? And this is why this whole situation is so ironic, because you got people from the left that are always talking about inclusion, that elected a mostly Muslim city council as well as a Muslim mayor, without understanding that, guess what? LGBTQ and Muslim values do not align. They're not the same. In the same way that gays for Palestine or LGBTQ for Palestine or drag queen for Palestine is fucking ridiculous. It's a Muslim country. If you go over there, guess what's going to happen? They're not going to like you. And this is exactly what we're seeing, but we're seeing it right here in Michigan. How is this not funny, right? You got people that voted for religious people where their religion does not agree with their values. And unfortunately, this is exactly what happens when you got people that vote with their feelings and not based on facts. This is exactly what's going on. So, are we seeing the beginning of the end when it comes to leftist ideology? Is this the snake biting its own tail? Who knows, right? Who knows? Only time will tell. But I'm kind of hoping that it is. I'm really kind of hoping that it is. So let's see what happens, because it seems like there's ridiculous shit like this that comes out all the time. And yes, I will continue talking about it because it does amuse me. But this is it for today. I want to thank you guys for joining me on the Friday recap of the Nico Wagon Show, because without you guys, there was there would be no reason for me to do this. And if you liked this episode, make sure to like, make sure to comment, make sure to share, make sure to follow. And remember, the whole point of this show is to show you that we have the power to change things. And if you're like me and you don't like what's going on, it's time for you to stand up and to speak up. Because if enough of us do it, we have the power to turn things around. Divided, we fall. But united, we stand. Until next time.